So these are some other cards that we got in our kit. And these we usually use, I will show it to them briefly and they will tell me how many they think there are. And sometimes they'll do that by writing on a whiteboard, and sometimes they'll do that by showing me with their fingers, but not in front of their face, above their head. And the reason that I get them to put it above their head is so that I know if they can just know, like, okay, I know that that's 6, and so I know that 6 is 5 and 1 more, and I can just do this right above my head and I don't have to look at it. Or do I have to look at it, and do I have to count my fingers first to make sure that I have 6 fingers out? Because that tells me that they can't subitize on their fingers yet. Anyways, and so we don't yell this one out. We either write it down on our board or we hold it above our head. So anyways, I'll show them it quickly, not long enough to count because this is a subitizing activity. And if whether they told me the correct answer or not, I'll ask them how they know or what they saw. And so if they say 5, I'll ask them, well, what did they see that made them think it was 5, or which one did they miss? And so maybe they saw 4 and 1 more and like missed the one in the corner. If they saw 7, maybe they thought they saw a line of 5 and then 2 on the sides. And if they saw 6, sometimes they see these 3 and these 3, so they see 2 3s. Sometimes they see a 4 and 2 more. Sometimes they see 2 here, 2 here, and 2 here, so they see 3 2s. And so that's also working on seeing how numbers are made up of smaller numbers, and also being able to subitize. And so here's another one. And so they could say, maybe they say I saw 7 because they didn't see this one up here, or maybe they did see 8 and they saw 4 in here and then 4 on the outside. That's what I see. Or maybe they saw 3 and 2 and 3 more, and they know that 3 and 3 is 6, and then 2 more would be 8. And so sometimes I'll get them to write down the equation of what they saw. And so if they saw 3 and 2 and 3, they would write 3 plus 2 plus 3 on their whiteboard, and then say it equals 8. And for some of the kids in some of the groups, I give them a whiteboard so that they can draw it first, because they can remember what they saw, but they need to see it to be able to count it, because they can't count it in their brain while they can see it. And so then they'll quickly draw it, and then they can count it. But it's still being able to see groups, and so that's fine. And then here's another one. And we can talk about what we see and how we see it, and then I can say, well, my brain sees this, and what does your brain see? So for this one, my brain sees 6 here, and then 2 and 1 more, so I know it's 9. Some kids see this over here. They just move that over in their brain, and then they see 3 rows of 3. Or some kids see, oh, well, I know that 3 and 3 threes is 9, and there's 1 missing. So I know that this part here is 8, and then 1 more over here adds that 9th one back in. And so it's interesting seeing how their minds work. We also have these cards. And so the number at the bottom tells you how many dots there are altogether, and then some would be hidden under here. It's kind of like Splat. I don't know if you've used that before, but anyways. So we know that there are 6. So we count these and we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We know there are 5 on the outside, so how many must be under here? And I just hold this out for them. I don't just pass it by briefly. We might try that eventually, but and then we talk about how we know that there's 1 underneath. Sometimes when I show one like this one that has none or 0 on the outside, they will say that there are 0 underneath, and then quickly realize that no, there are 7 underneath. And so we talk about that. This one has 8 altogether, and so there are 5 on the outside, so how many are underneath? And we know that there are 3 underneath, and how do we know? We can also write equations for these ones as well. We don't always. It depends on if it's just a quick activity or if it's a focus activity. And so that's how we use those cards.